Hey everyone. I never thought I'd be one of those people posting here, but life has a funny way of kicking you in the teeth when you're least expecting it. My wife, Mia, not her real name, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 5. We weren't perfect, but we were solid, or at least I thought so, for most of our relationship. Mia had this way of making me feel like the lucky one. She was charming in public, sharp-witted, always the center of attention. At home, she could be intense, not abusive or anything, just moody, dismissive sometimes, quick to turn everything into my fault. I always chalked it up to stress or her upbringing. The first real sign that something was off happened about 4 months ago. She suddenly got super busy with work. Late nights, early mornings, team building dinners that didn't allow plus ones. She'd come home smelling like perfume I didn't recognize, claiming she tried a new detergent. She started guarding her phone like it was classified government intel. Still, I didn't suspect cheating at first. I figured I was overthinking. But something inside me, call it intuition, call it stupidity, kept whispering that something was very, very wrong. It was little things at first, the kind you notice but tell yourself not to read into. Mia started dressing up a lot more. Not for me. God forbid she actually cared what I thought. But for these work events, tight dresses she never wore around me, heels she claimed hurt her feet, lipstick I hadn't seen in years. When I'd compliment her, she'd roll her eyes and say something like, "You wouldn't understand, it's a corporate thing." Then came the attitude shift, sharper, colder. If I asked when she'd be home, she'd snap back with, "Why are you so controlling lately?" If I asked whether everything was okay, she'd sigh dramatically and say, "Not everything is about you." She started leaving earlier for work, but didn't come home until way past midnight. Whenever I asked what was going on, she'd act offended, like I'd accused her of burning down an orphanage. The weirdest part? She suddenly became extra affectionate on random days. Over-the-top compliments, unexpected kisses, even cooking dinner, which she never did. It felt performative, like she was trying to distract me from something. My gut kept telling me none of this added up, but I didn't have proof. Not yet. The first undeniable clue didn't come from snooping. Honestly, I wish it had. At least then I could blame myself for finding what I didn't want to know. No, the universe delivered it straight to me. One night, Mia came home around 1:30 a.m., claiming her team dinner ran long. She looked disheveled, hair messy, makeup smudged, shirt buttoned wrong, like she was trying to fix herself in the car, but didn't quite finish the job. She tossed her purse on the couch and headed straight for the shower. That was typical. But what wasn't typical was a phone she left in her bag, unlocked. Mia never left her phone unattended. Ever. I swear I didn't plan to look. I didn't even touch it. I just heard it buzz. Once. Then again. Then again. Curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced over. Her screen lit up with a message preview from someone saved as M. "Had a great time tonight. Still thinking about you." My stomach dropped. A second message came in. Did he suspect anything? I froze. I remember just staring at those words, feeling this cold rush through my chest like someone had opened a window inside me. When Mia came out of the shower, humming like nothing was wrong, she noticed me looking at her bag. The look on her face, just for a second, was pure panic. Then it vanished, replaced with this fake confusion. "Why are you staring at my purse like that?" she asked, voice light but eyes sharp. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because deep down I already knew. For a few days after the M messages, I didn't confront her. I told myself I needed more proof, something undeniable. Mia was the type who could lie so convincingly she made me question reality. I needed facts, not guesses. Turns out, I didn't even need to look for them. Fate just kept dropping them in my lap. One Saturday morning, Mia told me she had to leave early for a conference workshop. She was dressed like she was going to a rooftop bar, not a seminar, but I was too drained to argue. She rushed out, leaving her travel mug on the counter. A few minutes later, I heard her car start, then stall, then start again, then silence. She came back inside, annoyed. "Can you check something?" I think my engine light came on. I went out to the driveway. Her car wasn't giving her an engine light. It was giving her a flat tire. A nasty one. She must have hit something the night before. While I crouched down inspecting the damage, her passenger door, badly closed, swung open, and something slid out. A man's jacket. Not mine. Not her father's. Not her brother's. A fancy, expensive jacket. One I recognized because I'd seen that exact brand on her phone's profile picture. A tiny thumbnail I noticed when the screen lit up. Inside the jacket pocket was a hotel key card for a hotel downtown. The same hotel Mia claimed had hosted her team-building event the week before. My hand was shaking so hard I almost dropped it. Mia came outside just then, saw what I was holding, and her whole face changed like a mask slipping. But instead of panicking, she immediately went on the attack. "What are you doing going through my stuff?" she snapped. "I didn't go through anything," I said quietly. "It fell out." "Whose jacket is this, Mia?" She didn't miss a beat. "Oh my God, you're paranoid. It's my coworker's. He spilled something on his jacket, so I offered to drop it at the dry cleaners. Why are you making this weird?" The lie was so fast, so smooth, so utterly ridiculous. And for the first time, I didn't swallow it. I just looked at her and said, "Really? Then why is there a hotel key card in the pocket?" Her mouth opened, then closed. She blinked twice. Then she whispered, "You're taking this out of context." That was the moment I knew without any doubt. She was cheating, and she had zero intention of stopping. After the jacket fiasco, Mia went into full gaslighting mode. She insisted I was overreacting, that she barely knew the coworker, that the hotel key card was from some company event months ago. But her eyes kept flicking toward the jacket in my hand, like it was a live grenade. We didn't speak for hours. She stormed off to the bedroom, slamming the door. I sat on the couch replaying everything, texts late nights, lies piling on top of lies. I still didn't know the full story, and part of me needed to. I needed something undeniable. Something she couldn't weasel her way out of a convenient half-truth and a guilt trip. The universe delivered again. That evening, while I was in the kitchen, Mia's phone rang from the bedroom. She'd plugged it in to charge. It was on speaker for some reason. No idea why. Maybe she had changed settings recently. And the ringtone echoed down the hallway. I wasn't going to answer it. But I also couldn't unhear the voice that came through when the call connected to voicemail. It was a man, and he was pissed. "Mia, what the hell? You said you'd tell him today. I'm done sneaking around. Call me back." Then a pause. "I love you, but I'm not playing a side guy anymore." I felt the air knock out my lungs, like someone punched me from the inside. Before I could even move, Mia burst out of the bedroom, eyes wide like she knew exactly what had happened. She snatched her phone so fast she almost ripped the charger out of the wall. I just stared at her. She stared back. Silence stretched thin between us. And then she said the wildest sentence I've ever heard. That wasn't what it sounded like. I almost laughed. Actually, I did. One of those hollow, disbelieving laughs that don't feel real. "Mia," I said, "he literally said he loves you." She rolled her eyes. People say dramatic things when they're emotional. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. That was the moment the denial inside me finally snapped. The moment I realized she'd lie, even when caught in 4K with surround sound. After that voicemail, something inside me clicked. Not anger. At least not at first. Just clarity. Like all the fog she created in my head finally evaporated, and I could see everything exactly as it was. I walked back into the living room and sat down, calm in a way that scared even me. Mia hovered near the doorway, gripping her phone like it was a lifeline. "Sit," I said quietly. She didn't. She crossed her arms instead, chin up, already defensive. I'm not being interrogated in my own house. "Then explain," I said. "Explain the text, the jacket, the hotel key, the voicemail from a man who says he loves you." She scoffed, actually scoffed. "You're twisting everything. You always do this, turning normal things into conspiracy theories." "Normal?" I repeated. "Normal is your coworker leaving love notes on your phone? Normal as a hotel key in his jack in your car. She didn't answer. Instead, she flipped the script. I can't believe you don't trust me. After everything I do for you, what exactly do you do for me, Mia? My voice cracked. Because lately all you've done is lie. That's when she snapped. Fine. Yes, I've been seeing him. Are you happy now? She threw her hands up dramatically. But it's not what you think. I stared at her. There is literally only one way to think about this. She shook her head like I was the one being unreasonable. It started because you've been distant. You don't show affection anymore. You barely even notice me. I almost choked. I've been distant because you've been cheating. Oh my God, she groaned. You always make yourself the victim. Maybe if you put in half the effort he does, we wouldn't be in this situation. That hit me hard. She wasn't just avoiding blame. She was rewriting reality in real time. He understands me, she continued, voice sharp, and he makes me feel special. Something you haven't done in a long time. So your solution was to sneak around behind my back? I said. She shrugged. It just kind of happened. No remorse. No apology. Not even embarrassment. She walked past me, grabbed her bag, and said, I'm going out. I need space from this drama. And just like that, she left me sitting on the couch, surrounded by the ruins of our marriage, holding a truth she didn't even bother to hide anymore. Mia stormed out, and I sat there for maybe an hour, numb. Every emotion, rage, heartbreak, disbelief, kept crashing into each other so fast I couldn't even process them. At some point, I stopped feeling anything at all. Then came a knock at the door. Not a light tap. A firm, repeated knock. For a second, I thought it was Mia forgetting her keys or coming back to scream some new accusation at me. But when I opened the door, it wasn't her. It was him, the man from a voicemail, the owner of the jacket, the guy she'd been sleeping with. I immediately recognized him, tall, good-looking, smug in the way people get when they think they've already won. He introduced himself with the fakest politeness I've ever heard. Hey, I'm Mark. We need to talk. I just stared. About what? He sighed like this was all a big inconvenience for him. She told me she was ending things today. She said you two were basically done. But now she's ignoring me, and I'm not getting caught in the middle of her drama. I blinked. What are you talking about? He pulled out his phone and flipped the screen toward me. A text from Mia, sent 2 days earlier. Don't worry. I'll tell him soon. I think he already suspects, so this might be the right time. My chest tightened. I felt sick. He kept going. She said she's only still here because she's afraid you'll lose it if she leaves too suddenly. Honestly, man, I'm trying to handle this respectfully. I don't want problems. I stepped back, a rush of heat hitting my face. She told you I'd lose it? He shrugged. That's what she said. That you're unstable. That you track her phone. That you go through her stuff. She made it sound like you're, I don't know, obsessive. I almost laughed out loud. She was pre-building a character assassination of me for him, lying to both of us in completely different directions, manipulating us like it was a sport. Before I could respond, he added, also, she said you two haven't been intimate in months, that you're basically roommates. I mean, I feel bad for you, man. That was the moment something in me finally broke, not out of jealousy or anger, but out of pure exhaustion. I said quietly, she'd been lying to you too. He frowned. What? She wasn't planning to leave. She's been telling me you were just a clingy co-worker who misread everything. His face drained a color, like someone pulled the plug on his confidence. He stepped back and muttered, "You've got to be kidding me." Nope. Welcome to Mia's world. Mark stood frozen on the porch, processing everything. Part of me felt bad for him. Yeah, he helped blow up my marriage, but he was also clearly manipulated. Mia didn't just cheat. She built parallel reality for each of us, telling each man the exact lies needed to keep us orbiting her. But the real twist, the one that blindsided both of us, that came next. As Mark and I talked, trying to piece together timelines, something wasn't adding up. He kept mentioning dates and places Mia supposedly told him about. But those didn't match my timeline. She was working late on nights she had supposedly been with him, and vice versa. It hit me slowly. Then all at once. Wait, I said, you met her on Friday the 12th? Yeah, he answered. We stayed at the Riverfront Hotel. She said she had the weekend off. I felt the blood drain from my face. She was out of town with her sister that weekend. He looked confused. No, she wasn't. I pulled up her Instagram. There was a picture of her at a lake house. Just not with her sister. Mark leaned over my shoulder and squinted at the photo. That's not her sister. Who is it then? I asked. His voice dropped. That's the HR guy from our office. I stared at him. You're telling me she went on a weekend trip with a third guy? He swallowed hard. I didn't want to believe the rumors, but yeah, she's been flirting with him for months. Rumors. Plural. Wait, I said slowly, don't tell me. Mark nodded. She also went out with another dude from accounting a while back. Everyone thought she just liked attention, but man, this is worse than I thought. I sat down on the arm of the couch, dizzy. My cheating wife wasn't having an affair. She was running a whole rotation. 3 men, minimum, with different lies, different stories, different versions of herself. Mark muttered, Jesus, how did she keep this straight? I laughed weakly. Practice. We sat in silence for a moment. 2 strangers united by the same insane plot twist. Then came another knock on the door. I swear my soul left my body. Mark and I exchanged a look. He whispered, please don't tell me she has a 4th guy. I opened the door. It wasn't a guy. It was Mia's sister, looking frantic. And she said the words that flipped the entire situation again. You need to come with me. There's something you don't know about Mia. Mia's sister, Laura, stood in the doorway looking like she'd sprinted the whole way over. She barely acknowledged Mark, who was half hiding behind my shoulder like he expected to be yelled at. Instead, she grabbed my wrist and said, please, we need to talk now, before Mia gets here. My heart did a weird flip. What's going on? Laura exhaled shakily. She's been lying to all of us, and not just about the cheating. Yeah, no kidding. But the fear in her eyes wasn't about relationships. This was something else. Something bigger. I motioned her inside. Mark reluctantly followed, clearly invested in the drama now. We sat in the living room, and Laura rubbed her face like she didn't know where to begin. She's not who you think she is, she said finally. None of us have been able to control her for years. She lies compulsively. She gets people tangled up in drama, and then jumps to the next one. We tried to get her to talk to someone, but she always refused. I frowned. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? Laura hesitated. Then she dropped a bomb I didn't expect at all. Mia didn't marry you because she loved you. She married you because she needed someone stable to fall back on. You were her home base. She always said she'd get bored if she stayed in one place too long, but she also didn't want to lose access to the security you gave her. I felt like someone punched me in the chest. She continued. She told us, multiple times, that if things ever got too complicated with her, side relationships, she could always sweet-talk you into staying. Because you're soft. Her words, not mine. I went cold, absolutely numb. Mark muttered, wow. I picked the wrong co-worker to flirt with. But Laura wasn't finished. She also said something else, she added quietly. Something you need to know now. My stomach dropped. What? Laura looked directly at me. She hasn't only been cheating recently. She's been cheating since the first year of your marriage. There were at least 3 people before him. She nodded toward Mark. And one of them, well, that situation ended with her blackmailing the guy. I stared at her. My mouth literally went dry. Blackmail? I asked. Laura nodded, eyes sharp with shame. Yes. She recorded conversations without him knowing, used them to get money. She said it wasn't illegal, just leverage, but she bragged about it. Mark whispered, horrified, oh my God, I could have been next. Laura leaned closer to me. We tried to warn you once, years ago, but she intercepted the message. Told you we didn't like you. And you believed her because she made you believe everything. My hands were shaking. My voice barely worked. Why are you telling me this now? Because, she said, today she told Mom she's planning to drain your joint account and leave the country for a fresh start. She said she'd send you divorce papers once you was safe. I stared at her, completely stunned. Every neuron in my brain stopped working. Then she added, almost whispering, she already packed a suitcase. And that was the moment something inside me turned from heartbroken to done. I don't know how long I just sat there, staring at Laura as her words ricocheted around my head. Mia wasn't just cheating. She wasn't just lying. She was planning an exit strategy, like a criminal preparing to skip town. And I had been living with her, loving her, completely unaware. Laura reached into her bag. I shouldn't be showing you this, she said, but you need to see it before she gets back. She handed me her phone. On the screen was a screenshot of a group chat between her, their mother, and their brother. Mia had messaged him earlier that morning. He's getting too suspicious. I need to move fast. I'll take what I can from the account today and book the flight for Monday. Don't tell him anything. I'll block him once I'm out. Not dealing with his emotional meltdown. Then a final message. This time I'm not looking back. My vision blurred for a second. Not from tears, just pure disbelief. Mark sat down heavily on the coffee table. This is insane, he whispered. She told me you were controlling. I almost laughed. Yeah, apparently I'm so controlling. She's the one trying to flee the country with my money. Laura put a hand on my arm. I'm so sorry. We should have told you sooner. But every time we tried, she spun some story about you being jealous or sensitive. She said you believed whatever she told you. I swallowed hard. She wasn't wrong. It hurt to admit that. Mark cleared his throat. Okay, but what do you want to do now? Because if she's planning to run, you need to act fast. That pulled me out of my daze. He was right. For the first time in this entire nightmare, I felt clarity instead of confusion. Cold, steady clarity. I grabbed my laptop, logged into our bank account, and there it was, a pending transfer. $8,200 scheduled to move into an account I didn't recognize. My hands clenched into fists. Laura whispered, "You still have time to cancel it." I did. One click. Transfer canceled. Then another click. Joint account access. Restricted to me only. Another click. Mia's card. Frozen. Mark let out a low whistle. Damn. She's gonna lose her mind. Good, I said. And I meant it. For once, I was ahead of her. For once. She didn't see it coming. But the peace didn't last long. Because just as I hit confirm, the front door opened and Mia walked in, bag on her shoulder, suitcase in hand, eyes widening as she saw all three of us waiting. Her first words? Not what's going on. Not why is everyone here. Not even I can explain. No. She looked straight at me and hissed, "What did you do?" Mia froze in the doorway, suitcase still dangling from her hand, eyes darting between me, Laura, and Mark. You could almost hear the gears grinding in her head as she tried to figure out which version of the truth to deploy first. Her voice came out sharp enough to cut glass. "Why are they here? What did you tell them? What did you do to my card?" Not a hint of shame, not a flicker of remorse. Just pure, cornered animal aggression. I stood up slowly. "I canceled your transfer." Her face twisted. "What transfer?" I wasn't transferring anything. Laura stepped forward. "Mia, stop." We saw the messages. We know. For a moment, Mia's facade cracked, just a flicker of panic. But instead of admitting anything, she spun around and pointed at me. "This is exactly what I meant. He's manipulating you all. God, you're all falling for his pity act. He hacked my account. He's been spying on me for months." Mark snorted. "Nobody hacked anything, Mia. I saw the screenshots. And the voicemail. And your text to me." She whipped toward him like a viper. "Shut up. You're obsessed with me. I told you to stop calling." "You told me you loved me," he shot back. "Well, maybe you misheard," she yelled. Then she turned back to me, eyes wild now, voice trembling with a mix of rage and desperation. You're trying to ruin my life. That's why you brought them here. To gang up on me. You're insane. All of you. I took a slow breath. No, Mia, we're not insane. We're just finally seeing you clearly. The room went silent. She blinked rapidly. Anger, calculation, fear. Then finally something uglier than all of it. Contempt. You were never good enough for me, she spat. None of you were. I stayed with you because you were easy, predictable, safe. Do you know what it's like being tied down to someone so boring? It felt like being stabbed. Even Mark flinched. Laura whispered, Mia, stop. But she didn't. You think you're the victim? Please. You're pathetic. If you weren't so emotionally weak, maybe I wouldn't have looked elsewhere. Any woman would get tired of a man like you. Every word hit like a hammer. But here's the strange part. For the first time, I didn't crumble. I just watched her. This new version of her, unmasked, unfiltered, venomous, was oddly clarifying. It was like realizing the monster under the bed was just a shadow you've been feeding for too long. I finally said, Mia, I'm done. That stopped her cold. Done, she repeated, blinking fast. What do you mean done? I mean our marriage is over. You need to pack your things and leave. Today. A full 3 seconds passed before she reacted. Then she laughed. A harsh, mocking sound. You don't have the backbone to leave me. I held her gaze. I'm not the one leaving. Her smile fell. Completely. In that moment, for the first time in 8 years, she realized she had lost control. The second those words left my mouth, I'm not the one leaving. Mia's entire expression shifted. Not gradually. Instantly. Like watching someone cycle through emotional presets. Shock, fury, confusion, manipulation mode. She dropped her suitcase and marched toward me. You can't just kick me out, she said, voice trembling. Legally, this is my home, too. That's fine, I said calmly. You can take whatever you came with. But you're not touching the savings. The transfer is canceled. Your card is locked. And I already contacted the bank's fraud department. Her mouth twisted into something ugly. You think you've won, she hissed. You think this is over? I can turn this whole story around in 5 minutes. You have no idea what I can make people believe. Mark muttered. Wow, she really doesn't know when to stop. Mia spun on him like a tornado. Oh, shut up. You're just mad. I'm choosing myself over you. You were nothing. A distraction. I told you things because you were gullible enough to believe them. He actually flinched at that one. Laura stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. Mia, stop digging. Please. But Mia wasn't listening to anyone. She grabbed her phone and started typing furiously. I'm calling Mom, she snapped. I'm telling her you're threatening me. You've always been unstable, and she'll believe me over you in a heartbeat. I laughed under my breath, not because it was funny, but because the desperation was finally showing. Laura crossed her arms. No, she won't. I already told her everything. That froze Mia mid-keystroke. Her fingers hovered in the air, then slowly lowered. You what? You heard me, Laura said. She knows about the cheating, about your plan to leave the country, about the money, all of it. Mia's face drained of color, like someone unplugged her entire personality. You had no right, she whispered. You had no right to destroy 3 men's lives. Laura shot back. You had no right to treat your husband like a safety net. You had no right to use people like disposable objects. Mia looked between us again, me, Laura, Mark. And for the first time since this hell started, I saw something real flicker in her expression. Fear. Not guilt. Not sadness. Just fear of consequences. She tried one last trick, her final weapon. She broke into tears. Not slow, real tears. Big, dramatic sobs, straight from the Mia playbook. You don't understand, she choked out. I'm not a bad person. I felt trapped. I messed up, but I can fix this. Please, just give me a chance, okay? We can work through this. You and me. We're meant to be together, you know that. A year ago, I would have caved. 6 months ago, I would have apologized. Even a week ago, I might have believed her. Now, I felt absolutely nothing. Mia, I said quietly, I don't believe a single word coming out of your mouth. Her tears stopped instantly, like flipping a switch. Her expression hardened to stone. You'll regret this, she whispered. Maybe, but I doubted it. Pack your things, I said. You're leaving today. Her eyes narrowed. Fine, but this isn't the end. She grabbed her suitcase again, marched down the hallway, and slammed the bedroom door so hard a picture frame rattled. I exhaled slowly. Mark sat down, stunned. Laura rubbed her forehead, and I realized, for the first time in years, the house felt quiet, honest, mine. Mia stayed in the bedroom for almost an hour, packing aggressively, drawers slamming, hangers clattering, the occasional muffled curse. Every sound felt like an exclamation point on 8 years of lies. Mark left first. He shook my hand, awkwardly murmured, "Man, I'm sorry," then walked out looking like he'd aged 10 years in an afternoon. I didn't blame him. He was a mess, but he wasn't evil, just misled. Laura remained, sitting quietly on the couch. I won't leave until she does, she said. And honestly, I was grateful. I didn't trust Mia not to pull something on the way out. Finally, the bedroom door flew open. Mia emerged with 2 overstuffed bags, face flushed and jaw clenched. She didn't look at me, not even once, but she did look at Laura, and her voice dropped into something eerily calm. Hope you're happy. You chose him over your own sister. Laura didn't flinch. I chose the truth. That seemed to hit Mia harder than anything I'd said. She hauled her bags to the front door, paused, then turned back with one last trademark twist of the knife. You'll come crawling back, she said to me. They always do. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She rolled her eyes like I'd proven her point, then walked out without another word, dragging her luggage down the driveway until the sound faded. Silence settled over the house, heavy but clean, like the air right after a storm. I sank onto the couch. Everything inside me felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and left the shell behind. Laura sat beside me. She didn't say, "I told you so." She didn't give advice. She didn't try to fix anything. She just said, "You're free now." And for some reason, that was the sentence that broke me. I didn't cry when I found the text. I didn't cry when I heard the voicemail. I didn't cry when she called me boring, pathetic, unstable. But I cried then, quietly, exhausted, finally, because the truth hit all at once. I wasn't just losing a wife. I was losing the idea of the life I thought I'd been living. And what came after that moment was surprisingly harder than the confrontation itself. The next few days felt like waking up inside someone else's life. The silence in the house wasn't peaceful anymore. It was loud. Every empty room felt like a reminder of what I thought my marriage was, and what it had actually become. I kept expecting Mia to call, or text, or show up screaming on the porch, demanding her things or her money or her dignity back. But she didn't. Not a word. Like she'd evaporated out of my life the moment the suitcase wheels hit the sidewalk. And honestly, that might have been the worst part. Because when someone is as manipulative and dramatic as Mia, you brace for the explosion. You prepare for the storm. You build emotional sandbags around your heart. But the silence after? That's when reality hits you. I kept replaying things in my head. Tiny inconsistencies from years ago. Moments that seemed harmless at the time. Trips she took. Birthdays she forgot. Nights she came home distant. Arguments she started out of nowhere. It was like my brain, relieved from her constant fog machine of lies, finally had space to solve a puzzle I didn't know I'd been assembling. Laura checked on me every day. Even Mark sent a text, short, apologetic, weirdly sincere. Work felt like a blur. I went through motions, smiled when I needed to, nodded at the right times. But inside I felt cracked, like I had to recalibrate who I was outside of being her anchor, her excuse, her alibi. Still, something unexpected started happening too. Little moments of strength showed up. Things I didn't think I still had. I slept better. I breathed easier. I cooked dinner for myself for the first time in years, without worrying it would look lazy to her. I called an old friend I hadn't spoken to because Mia didn't like him. I went for a run just because I wanted to. I caught myself humming while making coffee. Stupid, tiny things that felt like reclaiming bits of myself one piece at a time. And at night, lying in a bed that finally didn't smell like her perfume, I realized something. I wasn't mourning Mia. I was mourning the version of her I invented. The one she never really was. The real Mia had been a stranger sitting across from me for years. And for the first time, I wondered, maybe losing her wasn't the tragedy I thought it was. Maybe it was the beginning of something better. It's been a few weeks now. The dust has settled. The paperwork has started. And I've had enough quiet nights alone with my thoughts to finally understand what this whole mess meant. Here's the truth. Losing someone who was never really yours isn't a loss. It's release. When you're with someone manipulative, you don't realize how much of yourself you shrink to keep the peace, how much you explain away, how much you tolerate because the alternative feels like failure. I used to think I stayed because love requires patience. Now I understand I stayed because her lies were easier than the truth. But here's what I learned the hard way. 1. When your gut whispers, listen. It's never wrong. It's just waiting for you to be brave. Asterisk, asterisk. Those late nights, the secretive phone, the sudden affection. My instincts weren't paranoid. They were survival alarms. 2. Manipulators rely on confusion. The moment you see clearly, they lose their power. Asterisk, asterisk. Once the fog lifted, her tricks didn't work anymore. The gaslighting, the tears, the anger, all predictable. All empty. 3. Getting cheated on isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their emptiness. Asterisk, asterisk. She didn't cheat because I wasn't enough. She cheated because nothing would ever be enough for her. 4. Leaving someone like that isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing you'll ever do. Asterisk, asterisk. Walking away from chaos feels terrifying, but staying in it slowly destroys you. 5. Healing isn't linear, but it's real. Some days I wake up feeling free. Other days I wake up angry. Both are valid. Both are part of the process. And every day I reclaim something she took. My confidence, my peace, my identity, my future. So what would I tell anyone in a similar situation? Don't wait for the person hurting you to suddenly become who you hoped they were. They won't, and you'll lose yourself in the process. Choose clarity. Choose quiet. Choose yourself. Even if your voice shakes when you do it. Because at the end of the day, walking away from the wrong person is how you finally make space for the right one. Even if that right one is just you learning how to breathe again.